Hey everyone, and welcome to another Stellaris modding lesson on the Iron Workshop. In this lesson, we'll learn how to create new flags in Stellaris. We'll be creating both the graphics and the backgrounds for our new flag. So let's roll the intro and get started. The first step to create our new flags is to create a mod file. You will need to create this mod file in order to tell the game where your mod files are located and how to access your new mod. I have a separate video for that, so if you don't know how to do that, go ahead and watch that video and then come back to step number 2. For those of you who already know how to create a mod file, make sure to do that, and we'll proceed directly to step number 2, creating our file and folder structure. In this step, we will be creating our file and folder structure. And this is important since it's usually a good idea to work off existing files and change them rather than creating whole new files and folders. So let's go ahead and do this. What we're going to do in this step, we're going to open 2 folders. The first folder is going to be the Stellaris mod folder, the mod that we created. So your folder can be found in Documents, Paradox Interactive, Stellaris mod, and in here you will have the folder of the mod that you created in step number 1. Now I called it custom flags. If you called it something else, then you will see the name here. So I'm going to open this folder. I'm also going to open the vanilla, the base game folder as well. And that can be found in Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Stellaris. Great, so now that we have these 2 folders open, we're going to be mirroring or copying some of the folders and files that exist in Stellaris in order to change them to fit our new mod. So the first folder we will need from here is the flags folder. So I'm going to go to my mod folder. I'm going to create a new folder and I will call it flags. Remember, we're just mirroring so that the game knows exactly where to go to display our new flag. I'm going to open this folder. I'm going to open it in here as well. Now in here you have folders for the various flags that are available in the base game. Now I want my flag to have a whole new folder, its own folder. So I'm going to call it something like this, Iron Workshop. And I'm going to go into this folder. And now I'm going to copy some files from an existing folder, for example, human. So let's go ahead in here. And the files that I want to grab from here are the following. First of all, I'll take this flag called flag human_1. You can actually grab any one of these flags, but it's important that you grab the same file from the other folders as well. So I'm going to take this flag, I'm going to put it in my mod. And then I'm going to recreate these 2 folders as well, map and small. So let's do that. And you will notice that these folders also contain the same flags. So the flag that we grabbed was flag human_1. So I'm going to find it in here. And I'm just going to put it in this folder as well. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go into the small folder and I'm going to grab this file as well, just like that. And last but not least, I'm going to grab the usage text file as well, and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to put it in here. Now the reason we have 3 files for our flag, this flag is the flag that you see at the top left corner of the screen, and also the flag that you see when you edit your race in Stellaris. This is the icon that you see on the map, and these icons are usually flat. You see that these icons have a sort of depth to them, while these map icons are flat. And there's also another file for the small indicators, small flag indicators. Now the reason that the game just doesn't scale the flag down is because the game is not very good at scaling down graphic files, so Paradox have preferred to create a small graphic file in a graphic editor, which will look better than the game doing it while it's rendering. So these are all the files that we need from the flags folder. I'm going to go back to my main mod folder. And another folder that we will need is the localization folder, this one. So I'm going to recreate it in my mod as well. And from here, I'm going to create another folder depending on the language that my mod will be in. Now I'm creating this for the English version of the game, but if you're creating for another language, just make sure to create this folder in here. I'm going to create this in here like that. And from the English folder, I'm going to grab one of these files. It doesn't really matter which one. Let's take the second one, and I'm just going to copy it in here. And I'm going to change the name of this file. I will call it iron_workshop_L_English. Now it's very important that when you rename your file, the suffix _L_English, or the language that you picked, it has to be there for this file to work correctly. Anything before that, you can put whatever you want, but _L_language, or English in this case, has to be in the name of the file for it to properly work. All right, so these are all the files that we need for our flag mod, and we're basically finished with step number 2. Let's proceed to step number 3, which is to create our flag graphics. All right, now we've got to the fun part of this lesson. We'll be creating our flag graphics. Now, the reason that we grabbed the graphic files in step number 2 was that by getting these files from the base game, we get two things. We get the proper dimensions that are used by the game, and we get the proper file type, the DDS type. And we don't have to guess about that. So let's find these files in our mod. They are in flags, Iron Workshop, or whatever you called it. And these are the 3 files that we need to edit. Now I will be using paint.net to edit these files. If you have another graphic program that you prefer to use, that's fine. Just make sure that it can save DDS files. If you don't have paint.net, I will have a link to the download of paint.net in the description of this video. So let's grab one of these files, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open it in paint.net just like this. Excellent. Now we're going to remove this graphic that already exists. I'm going to select the eraser, and I'm just going to remove this. If your eraser is too small, you can always change the size in here. And now I'm going to grab an existing graphic that I created previously just to place it in here. So I'm going to go in here, mod, and I'm going to grab this icon. I'm going to click open. And now I'm going to press Ctrl+A on my keyboard to select the whole graphic. And then I'm going to press Ctrl+C to copy it. I'm going to go back to my original file, and I'm going to press Ctrl+V. Now, if you get this dialog, that means that the file that you're copying is bigger in dimensions than the original file, than the base game file. And it's very important that here you select Keep Canvas Size, because we don't want to change the dimensions of the files. We just want to resize the image inside of the file. So once you have your image in here, just make sure to put your cursor at one of these edges. You can also hold Shift to make sure that your shape does not distort its proportions. So holding Shift helps like this, and I'm going to just resize it until that circle hits the connection in here. Excellent. So that is done. Now we will need to save our file, so we'll go to File, Save. In this dialog, you don't need to change anything, just click on OK, and our file is done. Excellent. Now let's take care of the next file. The next file is going to be inside of the map folder, map. So I'm going to grab it from here and drag it into paint.net. Now you see that this is a flat logo file. So again, we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to remove all the graphic from this file, and I'm going to grab an existing graphic that I already have, like this. Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Excellent. File, save, and our file is saved. And now for the last file, which is the small file in the small folder. I'm going to grab it, open. Let's remove everything from this file. Control V, keep canvas size. I'll just zoom in a little bit. And just like that, that should do it. It will probably look a bit strange, but you can probably come up with better results than I am. Let's click on File, Save, and our file has been saved. Excellent. So now our graphic file is ready, but I do want to rename it. The reason that I want to rename it is because I don't want it to change the existing flag human_1. If you want to do that, then don't change the name of the file. That will overwrite the existing file that exists in the game already. But we do want to create another icon that doesn't exist already in the game. So I'm just going to change it to Iron Workshop flag. And I will just apply it to all 3 files. Just like that. Excellent. All right, so we are done with step number 3. Now let's go to step number 4, creating our localization. All right, so we're very close to finishing our flags. The last thing that we need to do is to create our localization. Now, the reason that we need to create localization is because when you select flags, if you didn't put your flag in an existing folder, right? So for example, here, you see that our flag is in a folder called Iron Workshop. So because it's in a separate folder, it will also have its own folder selection in the game. And that folder needs localization for the game to know exactly what to write there. Otherwise, you will have weird results like something underscore something, and you should see examples on the screen now. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We're going to go to our mod. We're going to go to the localization folder. And we're going to open the English file in this example. Obviously, if you're creating this for a different language, then go ahead and open your relevant file. First of all, we're going to clean up this file and only keep the first line that says L_English. That line is important to tell the game that this file works with the English version of the game. So I'm going to select the second line in here. And I'm going to drag my scroller all the way down. I'm now going to hold my Shift key on my keyboard and I'm going to select the last line. Once everything is selected, you can press Delete on your keyboard and everything is gone. Excellent. We can now save the file. And now in the second line, we will have to type something very specific. So follow the example on the screen and you should be fine. The first thing that I'm going to type is space. Now I'm going to type the following in capital letters. This is very important. Flag, category, underscore. And now I need the name of the folder that contains my flag files. So if I'll go into my mod, flags, you see that the folder is named Iron Workshop. But this name is actually not good, because in here I can't put a name that contains spaces. So I'm going to have to fix that in my folder name. So I'm going to go back in here, and in here I'm going to put an underscore between Iron and Workshop. If your folder has a similar problem, you will need to fix that. All right, so let's grab the name. I'm going to put it in here. Next, I'm going to type a colon, 0, space, quotation marks, and inside of these quotation marks, I will need to type the name of my folder. So I will call it Iron Workshop. And I'm going to save the file. Excellent. So now our localization is finished and basically our flag is ready to be used. So let's go into the game and see how it works. So I'm going to open the Stellaris launcher. I'm going to go to playsets just to make sure that my mod is enabled. And let's start the game. Now let's start a new game. I'm going to edit one of these races. Click on the flag. And now you see that I have a folder called Iron Workshop. And inside of here, we have our nice logo. So inside of the game, you see that we have our primary logo. If I go to the galaxy map, we have our secondary logo, and our ships and bases will have the smaller version of the logo as well. So basically our flag is finished. Quite simple. I hope everything worked out for you as well, and you are ready to start making your unique and amazing flags in Stellaris. Now, in the extra syntax section of this video, I will explain how to create new backgrounds for our flags. So stay tuned for that if you want to know that. If you're sticking around, I will see you in a couple of minutes. If not, thank you very much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like so that others can see how to create flags in Stellaris as well. Subscribe to the channel to be notified when new modding lessons are posted, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. For those of you who stayed for the extra syntax section of this video, welcome to this section, and we're going to learn how to create new backgrounds for our flags. So besides icons, flags also can contain unique backgrounds, like these in here. And before we start creating these backgrounds, it's important that you remember this section with the primary color and the secondary color, because that will be important. So I'm going to close the game for now, and let's see how we can create these backgrounds. So I'm going to open my mod folder, and I'm also going to open the Stellaris base game folder as well. I'm going to go to flags, and I'm going to go to flags in here. Now you will notice that besides the folders that contain the actual logos and icons, there is another folder called backgrounds. So I'm just going to recreate it in my mod. Let's put it in here. And inside of this folder, we have the various backgrounds that exist in the game. Now I'm going to take the circle, since that is actually a very good example. So let's copy this file over here, and we'll open it in paint.net. Now you see that this file contains only two colors, red and green, and in fact all of these icons only contain two colors. The reason for that is because the game actually changes these colors according to what you pick as your primary color and your secondary color. So the red section is responsible for your primary color, and the green section is responsible for your secondary color. So you can't actually mess around with these colors. They have to always be red and green. What you can do is to just change the shape of the green section just to make some interesting combinations. So let's go ahead and play around with this a bit. I'm going to cover everything with the red color, but I'm also going to sample the green color just to have it in here like that. So let's make this red and this green. Excellent. I'm going to paint over the green section so that we don't have it. And now I'm going to switch to the green color, and we can create some kind of an interesting shape in here. For example, we can have something like that, right? Or if you want, we can pick another shape. For example, we can have something like this, right? And then I can just paint it like here in green, just like that. I can reposition it, and we can have this very interesting background. Of course, you can play around with this for hours and come up with interesting combinations. So this will do for now. Now we're going to go to File, Save. I'm going to keep the settings as they are. Excellent. And now we have our new background. Now it's best to give this file a unique name if you want to create a new background. Obviously, if you want to replace an existing one, just keep the name as it was. So I will just call it something like unique, right? Like a unique background. So let's close this and see if our background comes up in the game. Alright, so in order to see your new shape, you might have to scroll down. I think the shapes here are sorted alphabetically, so if you name it something with an A, it will probably show up first. But if it doesn't, you might just need to scroll down And here's our new shape, and you see that it creates this very interesting background for our flag. And of course, we can combine it with the logo that we've created to have some interesting combinations. All right, so this is basically it. This is how you create a wholly unique flag with a background and a unique icon. I hope everything worked out for you. If you encountered any issues during this tutorial, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to help you. Leave a like if you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.